geek out. Welcome to another episode of I'll Geek. Thank you guys for joining us. Today we have the Akatsuki minifigs from Lego. These figures, I did get them off of a Comic-Con, and we will go over them in details as to where they come from and why we believe it's cool. And Mike Hayer has...
I have the Primal Gods from Primal Rage, the video game.
So stay for a while and let's get ready to geek out. Welcome back, and today we're going to start with Michael.
All right, so today I have the Primal Rage action figures. Some of you guys may know Primal Rage as the dinosaur Mortal Kombat game that came out in 1994 in August. As a kid, I wasn't allowed to play how gory and graphic the game. Like, it pretty much was Mortal Kombat with dinosaurs.
Before Mortal Kombat, or Mortal Kombat was after?
Mortal Kombat was first.
Okay.
It came when Mortal Kombat was like the popular game. They pretty much made it. Instead of humans, they had dinosaurs fighting it out. But I was allowed to have the toys. Funny enough.
What system did they come up?
They came in multiple systems. It was made by Atari.
Okay.
But it was on the Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, arcade. It's mostly known as also an arcade
game. Okay.
So it's started on arcade and then got ported to other consoles. I had the Game Boy Color version of this game too.
Okay.
Which was the dumber down version of the game, because it's like you have to do like these extravagant combo buttons to like the fatalities. In the Game Boy, you only had like 3 options.
It's interesting what kind of fatalities dinosaur would do.
Oh, there's some gruesome fatalities. So I don't have the full cast. I'm missing 2. But this is Talon, the god of survival. My favorite is this Velociraptor. He's a chief of these raptors.
I see he's missing a few claws. You played too hard with him.
Oh, you know it. This is Talon, the god of survival. He, like I mentioned, tribal chief of these raptors that were on their own island. But when the post-apocalypse happened, the island got close to the mainland. So he decided to leave the mainland to defend his people. And pretty much defend his people from the other gods, because his people were like isolation.
So now this is kind of the backstory of the video game itself?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there was no actual show?
No actual show. Like, so, all right. So backtrack, Earth, it was modern day Earth. A meteor came and forced humanity to go back to like the like prehistoric ages, and then awaken these primal gods. And then it brought the continents together. So Talon, for example, his island was alone away from humanity. When the other primal gods awakened, he awakened and he had to defend his people. Vertigo, the goddess of insanity, she was trapped in the moon, but when the apocalypse happened, she escaped the moon, and her goal was to enslave humanity. Armadon, I wasn't going to talk about him, but he fell down and he wanted to get attention. Is the god of life. He lived in the center of the earth, meditating peacefully, and then all the chaos happened, so he started to rose back to defend all life on Earth.
And he's missing the tip of his tail.
He's missing the tip of his tail. He doesn't have a tip, missing his tip, but if you want to buy a new one, I won't recommend it. If you want Armadon, buy a used one without the tip. Diablo, god of evil, hence the name. He wants to take over the world and enslave humanity. Then Sauron, the god of hunger, he just wants to eat anything that's around.
I don't know. When I see Diablo, it makes me want to say, yes.
Yes. And then I am saying Blizzard, the god of good, and then Chaos, the god of decay. They're like pretty much these apes, which I want to get them eventually, but Blizzard got lost in the mail when I reordered him years ago, unfortunately. And then Chaos is my least favorite one. I feel like he's like, out of all, he's like, doesn't fit the thing, because I feel like each god are like counters. So like Talon and Vertigo, the god of survival and the goddess of insanity. Diablo, the god of evil, and Blizzard, the god of good, and then Armadon, the god of life, and then Sauron, the god of hunger. I feel like they counteract each other. And then there's Chaos, he's just the god of decay. So I think he's supposed to counteract the god of life. But I feel like with something that always eats, devouring life, and something that wants to protect life, I feel like they should be the counters. So the story of Primal Rage is they're fighting to rule Earth. Each one has their own beliefs, their own people, and the goal is to kill the other gods, take their worshippers, and become the ultimate god of the planet Earth. And then as a kid, I got these toys. They're pretty much, I add them to like every toy that I get always fights Godzilla. So I pretty much had like Godzilla fighting out these guys, and I had them as like
all of them teaming up on Godzilla,
and getting their asses beat all the time. Because I pretty much had, because my mindset was like, they're just giant monsters anyway. So it was like, yeah, I figured I'm gonna have them fight up against Godzilla.
Yeah.
Godzilla. And I like these toys. They're pretty deep. They're pretty fun. They all came with like certain action for like
action movement.
So if you put his arms, his spikes come out. As my friend Al mentioned, Armadon had like this club tail, but that's been lost throughout the years. And if you try to buy an Armadon with the club tail that's going to ask you for a pretty penny. These guys are typically $20 on eBay. With the tail, it's like almost $50.
Wow.
Yeah, because he's always missing the parts. Vertigo, she used to be able to like put water and squirt out water because she spits acid. This one's been used so hard that you can't squeeze it. You can't even squeeze this toy anymore.
Yes, wow.
Oh yeah, it's been used so much. Talon, he comes with his raptor claws. He's just swiping action. And then Sauron, very basic. He just has like a bite.
I like the orange, yellow, and purple.
Oh yeah, he's famous.
Pretty cool.
He's famous. I like him too. And then Diablo, he used to come with a fireball. You just shoot the fireball.
Makes sense.
You remember in the episode of Dexter's Laboratory where Dexter and Dee Dee were playing this video game? You don't remember because Dexter,
they made it.
Yep, Dexter was using Sauron and Dee Dee was using the Blizzard.
Okay.
And then I think the episode pretty much became a giant monster movie episode. So yeah, Primal Rage was referenced in a lot of shows in the 90s, and it pretty much was dinosaur Mortal Kombat. Literally, like one of Talon's fatalities is he was like shred the other monsters to like you see like their bones and everything. Sauron would just jump up in the air and crush the other dinosaur. Diablo would incinerate them. Vertigo would turn into like a statue and destroy the statue. And Armadon would like land like spikes all over. It's very gruesome. They were gonna get a second game, but the second game got canceled. The second game was gonna have these guys weren't playable, but they had these guys chose like human champions to represent their tribes. So you're supposed to like their champion fight for their honor kind of thing. So it was kind of cool. And there was another Primal God that was not released, well, two technically. I believe I can't remember the name. One was a saber-toothed tiger and one was like a skeleton dragon, but they weren't released unfortunately. Yeah.
Interesting. I never actually heard of the game, so definitely will take a look at it. I did just released an episode about a retro game. Maybe it's there and I can check it out.
You probably can
might
check
be
it
there.
out. It's a fun game. I played it. The combat system is just your typical fighting game. There's this one the brain meter. If you get stunned a lot, your character gets stunned, so you can't really react. The only issue people have with is the fatalities. The fatalities are kind of hard to pull off because unlike typical games, you press like a certain button selection. This one you have to press buttons, turn the control stick like vertical, and it's weird. I tried it once and I couldn't. I pulled it off probably twice in my life. And I really hope I kind of want this game to be remastered one day. I'll pay for it. Bring back the two monsters that weren't available at first. That'd be cool. I think one was, I can't remember the saber-toothed tiger's name, but I think he was the god of the hunt or something. And then this skeleton dragon was the god of death.
Okay.
So I kind of want to see them brought back. I could live without the sequel, but I would love to see a game brought back in modern days. I mean, why not? If fighting games are sellers, who wouldn't buy a dinosaur fighting?
Yeah, I mean, Mortal Kombat's still making games after games after games, and it's really the same thing. Just like Dragon Ball Z also makes games after games after games, the same thing. So yeah, absolutely. I never played it. It would be interesting to take a look at.
Oh yeah, and then for some reason as a kid, I thought these guys were gonna hit a movie because I remember Mortal Kombat got a movie in the 90s. I was expecting a movie too for this. I probably would have to wait until a VHS because I probably wouldn't have been allowed in the movie theaters. But it's cool. I like it. Very underrated, a very unknown kind of game. It came out in the 90s and disappeared. It never came back. And then the toys, I kept the toys because I love the toys. I mean, you see they're beaten up. I had them for a while. I just had to fight Godzilla. I had to fight amongst themselves. And they each have, there's some good gods and bad ones. I mostly have, I outnumber. I have like 3 to, because there we go. It'll be like these guys were good, but I feel like Sauron should have been neutral. He doesn't scream good to me, and these guys were evil. But yeah, I like them. Fun game, fun lore. It was in the 90s. A lot of post-apocalyptic games always came out.
Yeah, because of the 2000s coming, you know. So
that was pretty much kind of thing. The 2000s, and that giant meteor came and destroyed civilization. They started all over again and pissed off these ancient monsters. So that's cool. I like me some ancient monsters. I like some giant monsters fighting in the city. Great game, great idea. I wish it comes back. Come on, Atari.
I don't think they're a company anymore.
So if somebody buy the IP, I want them back.
Maybe Nintendo. I think
I don't think Nintendo has the balls for that.
Yeah, I don't know. Too much blood.
New budget. But what do you got there?
So I have here. So if you were a fan of Naruto, you must be a fan of Naruto Shippuden, which was the next the next chapter on Naruto's whole history and animation. So this right here was the Akatsuki, and they were a group of rogue ninjas from each village that got together to get the world back into peace. So I won't go too much into the whole history. I will touch a little bit for each character, but if I do go in detail, this would be probably an hour-long video, and that would be a pretty long sit and watch. So
yeah, especially since I don't know nothing about Naruto.
so we got here the Pain, who is one of, I believe, 5 rogue ninjas that's being controlled by the main guy, actually, that's Nagato, that has the Rinnegan. And the Rinnegan, he gives him different powers to transport his chakra into 5 dead bodies, one of them being Pain, which it was his close childhood friend that got killed off on the Great War. And I believe it was the Second Great War. So very dear to him. So he makes him as the leader of the Akatsuki and also as the leader of his main 5 group of shinobis. He ends up being another pawn, Nagato. He's not really the true mastermind of the group. Then we have here Itachi, which he's really well known, very popular. He is original from the Uchiha clan and lived in Konoha. He's the brother of Sasuke, so he's a rogue ninja that infiltrated the Akatsuki for information and keeping them out of Konoha, which is the hidden leaf village. Then we have Kisame, which is his partner. All these Akatsukis traveled in groups. He was from the Hidden Rain village, I believe, and he had a lot of water gengetsu or ninjutsus. So they were partnered up. He ended up dying against. He killed himself in the story. He was a very good, and he got eaten by sharks out of his own ninjutsu. He killed himself to keep all the information that he had gathered or had given out to the Akatsuki private when he got caught. Then Itachi ended up, I think he was really sick, but he ended up dying against his brother in his fight. Then we have Deidara, which he had a beef with Sasuke and Itachi. He didn't like the Uchihas. And his partner was Sasori, which Sasori was a puppet master, and Deidara was more of a art creator. So he would infuse his chakra with clay and create clay monsters, and Sasori would control puppets, wooden puppets. He had a jutsu that would control 1,000 puppets and would fight. Then we have here, Hidan, which he is part of a cult. He believes in a certain god, and he would take over. He was immortal, so he would take possession of somebody's body by cutting them and consuming their blood. Pretty creepy. And then he would harm himself, and the damage would be done to the other person because he would take over his body. Then we have here Kakuzu. He is one of the oldest ones in the group. He actually has 4 different types of, or he can do fire, water, kind of like the Avatar in our previous episode, but it's because he has 4 hearts in different masks. So the way that they defeated him was by destroying all the hearts that he had. He had about 4 or 5 hearts. He's the oldest. He actually did fight against the first Hokage, so he's really old. Then we got Zetsu, which he's part of the experiments of from the Akatsukis, or in trying to revamp the eternal genjutsu, which put everybody to sleep. And then we have Toby, which his name is actually Obito, which he is really the true mastermind of the Akatsuki. He was trained by Madara, which was the actual oldest and most evil Uchiha of the Uchihas. And he found him when Obito was pinned into a rock. He was about to die, and Madara saved him to carry on his will. So really awesome storytelling. Again, we watch these anime cartoons because of the screenwriting, the storytelling, the character development. Actually, they're even getting so good that even their art style is breathtaking, sometimes even better than our movies, our live action movies. So overall, a great story. These guys are the evil villains, pretty much, to bring out the Third Great War. I believe it's the Third Great War, and eventually bring out Madara. Comes out back to life, and they have to fight him again. So they hunt the 8-tailed beast or 9-tailed beast.
Is it a fox?
Yeah, the 9 tails.
It's probably nine.
Yeah, it's the 9 tails. So there's 9-tailed beasts, or there's 9-tailed beasts, and they're hunting them to try to harness their chakra and bring back to life the 9-tailed beast. The 10-tailed beast. So really menacing shinobis that were really hard to kill off and try to beat during Naruto Shippuden. Really great story. I really do recommend you guys watching. If you guys like superpowers, if you guys like kunais, attacks, water attacks, fire, ground, etc. You get the points. And there's some of them that combine 2 elemental powers to create a new element, and then they use them and they fight. So
it's
really
that
good.
in our Kakashi episode a while back, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, check that episode out when I go over the figure art for Kakashi. I did get Kakashi Hatake, one of the ninjas out of the Hidden Leaf Village. Really cool character. Just overall, they do a great job. I mean, the creator does a great job on giving everybody a storyline, a backstory too, and how they became who they are. I was very impressed with the storyline with Obito or Toby, because he was kind of like the joke of the whole clan.
Okay.
Yeah, and eventually he was a mastermind. He was just playing it out.
Okay, that's cool. Playing out the full.
Yeah, playing out the fool, and he was actually the main guy.
The one that caught my interest is that a plant in his head? Like
this guy?
Yeah, what's on his head?
It's his name is Zetsu, and he's part of like plants. So they grow out of a plant.
Okay, yeah, because that one caught my eye instantly. I was wondering how does that work? Like, does his head actually close and like he can fight somebody with it? Like, I'm curious. I
don't know. He really doesn't. He doesn't really fight in the anime. He's just more just there, and then they use him to clone other Zetsus, and then what happens is part of his body gets hooked up to another body and gives him life, and then they're like walking zombies.
Gotcha.
For example, they use some of the Zetsus to get Obito back to kind of a life, because half of him got crushed by a rock.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned that.
Yeah, so they combined him with some of the Zetsus, and they brought him back to life to save him. So he got back to life. Overall, great storylines. I like the Akatsuki. They're like the group of evil villains that pretty much Marvel and DC has. They get together to try to destroy their main target and try to get their mission accomplished.
I'm sure they do. They're more interesting. Some of the Marvel villains. These guys sound way more interesting than some of the stuff I've seen recently. And so I would love to see. I would like to learn more about it, because I do plan on watching the Naruto franchise eventually. You said they're in the Naruto Shippuden.
Yeah, these guys come out in Naruto Shippuden once Naruto becomes an adult.
Okay.
And then he's not an adult, but
teenager.
Teenager.
Young adult.
Young adult. Exactly.
All right, I'll definitely give it a watch, because I've seen the collection before. It's I like it. They all look interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to see like the one with like the bandage up sword. Like, do they reveal what the sword looks like?
Yes. It's I want to say if I'm pronouncing it right, but I think it's Samdega but it is. That thing alone is really strong. It absorbs chakra, which is pretty much the power that they all wield to do ninjutsu. So yes, he's considered another like a tail beast just because he possesses that one of the swords.
Okay, that's cool.
But yeah, I mean they all have their own story. So that's why I like the anime. I mean, the anime just focuses on each character, gives the backstory, how they became who they are. So it's really great, great show.
I'll give it a watch one day. I'm just real bad with animes. I have to actually sit down and watch them.
And they're long. I mean, the episode's 20 minutes long. I mean, if you probably lower it by fast forwarding through ads and stuff, but it's just they're long seasons. There's probably like look at One Piece right now. There are over 1,000 episodes. Yeah. There's a lot to watch in so little time.
I'll sit down and just watch it. I just got to get past my PTSD of the whole. I tried watching Naruto and he ate noodles for like 3 episodes straight.
Yeah,
and I think he was practicing the Rasengan.
Yeah, you can just start up at Shippuden and you'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah, I mean the first few episodes are but then after they see Sasuke for the first time in like I don't know 8 years or 5 years, then it gets a lot better.
All right, yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that does it for this episode. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, hit the notification bell so you do not miss another episode. These were my Akatsuki group minifigs that I acquired at a Comic-Con.
And these are my Primal Rage action figures made by Atari. I had them for quite some time. Great toys.
Yeah, so leave us a comment.
Yeah, and tell us in the comment below if you watch Naruto. Do you know anything about Naruto? Do you know anything about the Akatsuki? Which one was your favorite? Which one caught your attention? Did you play or even heard about Primal Rage as a kid? Came out in the 90s and it kind of disappeared since, but if you like me and you saw the toys and fell in love with it, let me know in the comments below.
That's right. And always remember, geek out. I have to give you that comment thing.
Yes, I did.
So this is our style of...
This is our style, our generation of art. Would you say? You know how some people have art display in their house, statues, busts. We have these toys that we like to display.